Hello Taurus, this is your December 2016 read. Doing December all as one because it's getting very busy and I don't want to end up skipping a period of time, so I'm going to do the whole month at once. For the main read, I'm using the Tarot of the Moon Garden, so an older deck I had since I was a teenager. And it doesn't give who by, but it gives like the paintings are by Karen Marie Schweikart, in case you'd like to know. And for the advice cards, I'm using the Angel Therapy Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. Another older deck, not as old as my tarot cards, not nearly, but still a good one. As usual, I've already pre-shuffled. Are we going to do these? Those are face down. No, this might be fun. Alright, let's flip you. This. I'm not getting more. This one needs to go here. Okay. I'm getting a couple face down things here, and I'm not sure why, even though I just saw that one. Let's go with the overall energy. With the overall energy we got going here, we got peace. Alright, I'm going to say the card does say death, but that white rose is really what's coming through to me, and it makes me feel like peace. I think the peace rose is actually like yellow and pink, but truce, peace. And now they're telling me it's definitely the ending of a certain situation. Okay. Now, I feel like something's been going on. This might be love related. It's definitely a relationship situation with somebody who's close to you. And the way the cards are looking here, it looks like somebody, as you go into this time frame, that you kind of trudge through and you try to make things work with. I'm not getting that it's definitely a romantic situation. I'm getting here that some of you are like having to deal with a younger person that does not really like how you are. I feel like you're very regimented and do things a certain way, which is great, but I don't feel like they're on point with it, and there can be a little bit of combatants there. I feel like the way you look at the world is good for you, and you're trying to make it work, but I also feel like you're getting the hints. Like, whenever these cards come up, especially in a general reading, there's obvious hints coming to you, however way that might be to you. And like either it's like a little thought in the back of your head, repeating. Like sometimes, like I've noticed some people get messages where they watch certain shows or movies and they seem to pick out a certain character that just keeps pinging them in the head. Like they just seem to relate to a certain character and they're not sure why. Like messages come through like that sometimes. The same word keeps popping up sometimes to you. Things like that. Like I feel like you're trying to make the situation work, but I also feel like it's not really going as it should, or the way you'd like it to. I think that's a better way to put it. It's not that it's not going the way it should. I just feel like you're not really happy with how it's going. As I see things around you here, I don't feel like the other person is a negative person, but I just feel like they don't understand how they're just not on point. The way you go through life and the way they go through life is not matching. And it's hard for them. I feel like they like you and respect you as a person, but I just feel like the way they go about life and the way you go about life, it's just not meshing and it's causing issues. I feel like they're trying to get along, but they're not happy. It's just not working out. And I feel like you're also trying very hard to make things work out and to, like, give where you can. Because, I mean, you're both specific people, and you shouldn't try to be somebody you're not. Either of you. It's just like who you actually are just doesn't match. I feel like this is a repeat of an earlier reading I might have done like a month or so ago, but I could be wrong. Even though they're trying and they're doing what they can, they want things to work out. I feel like there's a small period of time in this month where they just kind of like, they want to believe that things are just going to work out, so they just kind of like swallow their pride in a sense, or they try to swallow whatever's bothering them. They just try to like push it to the back. Like, it's not that bad. It's not that big a deal. This is a really good person. I feel like they're very caught up in your, like, almost nobility. Like, they see you as a certain level, as a very dependable, honorable person, and they love that about you. They truly do. It's just the way you both move in life. It's just not working. And I feel like they're trying to swallow or push back any differences because they very much like who you are. They see you as a very honorable, good person. They want it to work out. And I feel like you're kind of like... I feel like you're seeing the writing on the wall at this point, though. Because it's almost like they kind of go a little numb, in a sense. And I feel like you notice this. Like, it's not something that's very... I don't think you're oblivious to it at all, let's put it that way. I feel like you see the difference in them, and they're kind of, like, not really participating, or they're not really talking like they normally would, and they're just kind of letting you run the show, and you know that it's not going to work. You know that it's not going to work. The way it feels, you know that they're trying to make things work out, but you also know at the same time that it's not going to work. You know it's not going to work. I feel like you see the writing on the wall. I'm just not sure exactly what happens. I almost feel like you might start a conversation. I do feel like there's yeah. Listen to your intuitive feelings. I really think you know. And when crystals came up too, and I'm more centered on what she's doing. I feel like she's like pulling information. Like, I wouldn't get caught up in like the gender of the card, of course, but I feel like when this happens and you're like, I know you're not talking, or I know you're just kind of trying to get along, and I appreciate that, but you need to be you, and I feel like you kind of pull out of them what they really want to say, and I feel like for a lot of them it kind of comes off a little harsh, like they've been pushing it down for a while, and it's kind of like one of those, reminds me of a Easter toy I had when I was a kid, where you push the little chicken down on the little spring, and it kind of sits there for a minute, and it goes, and it flies across the room. I kind of feel like that's what's happening. And it's not like it's your fault that they were pushing that down the way they were. But it built up so much momentum that, there it goes. I feel like it's upsetting, because I feel like they just lay it right on the line, and I feel like whatever happens, like they finally just like, it causes the ending of the situation. Like, it's weird, because I think when it comes around, you know they're not being who they are, and you want them to be, and you're worried about what it's going to mean when you bring this forward. And I feel like you're trying to be very diplomatic and caring the way you pull it forward, but when it finally comes, and when it lets loose, when that suction lets loose, right across the room it goes, and they just say exactly how they feel. I feel like it comes across harsh, based on the pushing down of the emotions, which I really don't think is your fault. I feel like they were just trying to do what they felt was right by bottling their emotions, but when they let that cork go, I do feel it comes across a little harsh, and I feel like that's what causes the situation to end. I do feel like that's very upsetting for you, and I do feel like they move on, whatever happens there, because I feel like at that point, like when you pull it out of them, they just admit exactly how they feel, that they really do care about you, but that you don't match. And I don't really know if they really talk that much to how they care about you. I feel like everything they've been holding back comes forward. So I do feel like they respect and care about you, but when you really pull it out of them, everything they've been holding back, poof, comes forward, ends the situation, and they exit left. I feel like that's what happens. I do feel like that hurt you, and I apologize. I wish it was better. The sooner you can... The advice here is be willing to forgive. Like, hopefully seeing this reading ahead of time, or maybe after the fact, depending on when you watch this reading. Even though I'm doing it for December, I know that sometimes you could watch this right after I put it up, and then you might be at the spot where this already happened. The message is, as soon as you're willing to forgive, it starts healing, and you can start moving on. So that will help you out. I love you too, but give me a second, okay, sweetie? Alright. Give me a second. Okay, sorry, my dog wants to be a part of the reading too. So I think she's saying just be loving. That's my dog. She wants to give her little 2 cents about it. The point is, though, once you get in that mindset of trying to forgive, realizing it's done, and just get in that forgiveness mindset, I feel like it'll help you move from the situation and let it go. As long as there's some anger or resentment there, it hasn't been let go yet. But once you make up your mind to start letting it go, to start forgiving for it, I'm not saying you're going to just forgive it like that, but you'll start moving in that direction, and it'll be easier for you. Of course, I'd always like to know below how this really affected you. I wish it was a happier reading for December. Also, if you want a reading from me, go ahead, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Alright, I can pet you now. You happy? You're probably so happy.